Crap. The monkey cam. What happened to monkey cam? No. I lost the monkey cam. Big Houston. It says it's on. Monkey cam, monkey cam, monkey cam, monkey cam. Off. On. Boom. Settings. El Gato. I do. Yeah. You. There we go. All right, you're back. Phew. Almost lost you, buddy. I almost lost you, but there you are. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Alrighty, is it even happening yet? I can't even notice. I forgot to fill my water. Shit. Well, it's a short show. Alright, hey everybody, welcome. I forgot to fill my water. Almost didn't have a monkey cam. And things are going swimmingly over here in the tech zone known as Houstonia land. Well, what's happened in the news? We got a couple things happening in the news. The SEC investigated Carl Icahn and IEP, basically on the allegations that Hindenburg said they were a Ponzi scheme and were committing all these frauds, and concluded that none of the allegations that Hindenburg had made against Icahn's company were true. They did find one problem where IEP, the company, forgot or misreported collateral, and they got a little slap on the wrist. But they got vindicated on everything else. So that should quell some things as far as Hindenburg is related. Also, in the link I posted, or in the description, I posted a link to the article connecting Andrew Leff's Citron research to Anson funds to Hindenburg, and that these guys are a giant RICO scheme that are doing naked short selling across the markets and criming like crazy. So by all means, check that one out. Talked about that with Peruvian Bull on Friday. There may be a whole bunch of new viewers today. I made a Twitter thread about my friend Will and his receiving the Medal of Honor on like Thursday or Friday, and it went quite viral, and thousands of people showed up suddenly. So we're going to have, if you're a new viewer, there'll be a lot of inside jokes that you may not understand. We may talk about things you'd be like, what the hell are they talking about? I will try to keep in mind that you folks are new and not spent years trying to decipher what Wall Street has been doing to American companies. So the main basis of the show started in my going viral over a Twitter thread talking about the GameStop squeeze in 2021. And describing sort of how these market manipulators sell shares in companies that don't exist. They get a bunch of money off of it selling a bunch of counterfeit shares, which seems like it should be illegal, but there's all sorts of loopholes in American law that allow them to do this. And they bet on these companies collapsing to zero and disappearing forever. And then they never have to like go out in the market and find the shares. They just make profit and they're cool. And they've been doing this for decades now, basically ever since Wall Street created the fast system, electronic trading. And they've been destroying small and mid-cap American companies. They've been destroying, companies that like biotechs that come out with cures for cancer and vaccines and all sorts of stuff. They just blow them out of the water so they don't exist. And we become weaker as a nation as a result. So here we are. We are now 3.5 years into this, and we're still talking about it. But the show's system is basically you throw in a chat. I do my best to get through all of them, except today's going to be kind of a short show. We got a little bit less than an hour, and I try to talk about it, answer it, discuss it, go to somewhere on a map, read your joke. Whatever. Yeah. So I will be doing a GeoGuessr tonight. So you'll be able to head over onto Twitch and find me doing some GeoGuessr. It'll be a late night one, probably around 9 p.m. Pacific. So if you're still up and you like to look at me stare at maps, which some of you really do and some of you really don't, there we are. What else is the news? George Santos, the con man who somehow became a member of Congress, he pled guilty today. He's looking at 6 to 8 years, the judge said. So he pled guilty, admitted to stealing people's identities, fraud, theft, you name it. So he's toast. Monkey, you got anything else you want to add? No? Should we do the intro? Yeah? Okay. We'll do the intro. That's Monkey Butt, by the way. Intro. Which one? Daytime 2. God, I can't believe it. We haven't got enough time to get water. Try that.
Houston, we have a problem.
Did you hold it down the show for me, Monkey? Sorry, I am thirsty as hell. So much better. Okay, so. Oh, I didn't turn off the intro. That was close. All right. Okay. She usually just looks at me with side eye and disapproval at all times. But Cameron Mirza says, "Happy Monkey Stock IAPSN. Can we get Monkey a cookie?" Sure. Shall we do this one? Bacon. You stay right there. Whoa, Jesus. We got killed by the Costco cookies. Yeah? Yeah. There you go. There we go. Happy Monkey. Got her nuggie. Don't try to hurt me with a Costco cookie. I have just bags and bags of cookies that... Jesus. Quit it. There we go right there. Well, I'll hide you behind that. There we go. People like to send Monkey cookies, and Monkey likes to eat cookies, so she gets cookies. All right, where are we? What's going on? Shall we? Laza was first. GDC says they're first. They were not. Matthew Hutchben second. Nope, third. Mechi Sherperiel. Mechi Sherperiel. Houston. Did you see Dr. Trimbath post? She is still in the fight. What will it take for naked shorting to stop? Laws that get enforced. I mean, the simplest thing to make naked short selling stop is to make a law against naked short selling. Ta-da! And the second thing you have to do is you have to enforce that law. And the third thing you have to do is you have to, when you enforce that law, make the punishment far worse than the crime. So let's say someone sells $1 billion in naked shares on the market, and they vaporize a company from existence, and thousands of people get laid off, and such and such and such. And you're able to use the regulations we have to track back and find out who sold all those shares that don't exist. What we do today is when we find them causing problems, we find them like, oh, you made $1 billion cheating people. We're going to charge you a $150,000 fine. Don't you do that again. And then they do it again, because why not? You're making $999 million in change by committing this crime, and all they're going to do is like charge you a little fee, and that just becomes the cost of doing business. So in order to stop naked short selling, you have to throw their asses in prison, remove the broker licenses from brokerages and hedge funds and such. Basically kick them out of the market entirely, and fine them more than the money they made off of the crime. So if you do $1 billion in crime, your fine should be $2 billion, right? That's how you get people to stop doing premeditated crimes like this. Is you guarantee they're going to get caught, and when they get caught, they're going to get brutalized so badly that they will never be able to recover from it. And then everyone else will go, "Whoa, we get it. We'll have to make our money another way." Because if you don't do it that way, then they're just gonna keep doing crimes. So, yeah. Michael Stiegs live chat. I am on live chat. I remembered. GDC. We need to update the expression "Nero fiddled while Rome burned." It's been dozens of years. How about going forward we use BBY judges delayed while GDC lost her freaking mind? It does seem to be speeding up a little bit in the BBBY case. Again, new viewers, we're talking about Bed Bath & Beyond went bankrupt. It appears that they were naked sold like crazy, perhaps billions of shares more than existed. So that drove the company to bankruptcy, because the company kept spending billions of dollars doing share buybacks to raise the value of their stock price, which was basically like using a thimble to bail out a boat at that point. And then they went bankrupt. and it appears that the board was colluding with the naked short sellers to destroy the company from the inside. So there's all sorts of lawsuits going on, and we're just waiting to get hear about it, see what comes of it. And yeah, it's taking a long time. Olympic Woolhead first, lol. You were not first, Muley. Jason Blackwell, hey Houston, according to Trump, the Medal of Freedom is a better honor than the Congressional Medal of Honor because you don't have to deal with bullet holes in your body. Yeah. Ah. So I was when I saw Trump's original comments, I think it was like Thursday, I don't know, 1 a.m. or something. It really chapped my hide. That was what grinds my gears. So one of my dearest friends in the entire world is Captain William Swenson, or he's now Lieutenant Colonel William Swenson. He was the first living officer since Vietnam to receive the Medal of Honor. And, you know, what Trump sees is like, ugh, these like gross, like broken bodies, these guys with like missing limbs and in wheelchairs. It's just, ew. That was kind of the way he described why the Presidential Medal of Freedom is better, because they're like smiling and happy, and they're not like these broken, gross, battered, you know, suckers and losers. And so I relayed the story of, you know, kind of loosely of what Will went through to then receive an award commemorating the worst day of his entire life. It's brutal. So Will, 9/11 happened his senior year of college. He was at Seattle University, and he signed on with the Army and went to go. In his mind, he's like, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go help get bin Laden and the people responsible, right? And we know that years and years and years of prolonged war, that apparently didn't really seem to be the goal. That the goal was, how much money can we get to defense contractors and prolong this thing without ever actually trying to get bin Laden? And through much of the Bush administration, that's the way it went. And then they figured out ways, let's go invade Iraq too, and just made a nightmare of everything. But that's the people who signed up to the military as a result of 9/11. They were not like, hey, I'm going to go enrich some billionaire defense contractors. They saw thousands of people die at the hands of a terrorist attack, and they want to do what they could to help their countrymen and get justice for them, right? And Will was among these. And he graduated summer or spring 2002, went off to officer candidate school, and became a lieutenant in the Army by fall of 2001. He was part of the 10th Mountain Division. He's an amazing skier. That's how we became friends, with skiing. And he went to Ranger School, Airborne School, was part of Special Operations Forces, and by 2009 he was XO of a team that was training Afghan border police, which was a branch of the Afghan military, and they were sent off to Ganjgal Valley, which is out in what province? I can't remember the province now. Whatever. Way on in hinterlands. Like no one had been to these villages in years. No one from the government, no one from the U.S. military. So they went out with this newly trained force of about 60 Afghan border police. Went to go and be like, hey, the government's here. Let you know we exist in case you've been cut off from everything. And what do you need? That was kind of their mission. And turns out that the Taliban knew that they were coming. They get to the head of this valley, and they're surrounded on three sides, and 60 plus Afghan forces start, shoulder fired rockets, machine guns, small arms fire, you name it. They are getting just pinned down by the Taliban, and his soldiers start dropping, and Afghan soldiers start dropping, and they're trying to fight their way out of this thing, and Will Sargent takes several bullets, one through the face, one through the neck. He drags him to as much safety as they could to an open farm field where they can, call in a medevac chopper. Medevac chopper comes in, They don't know where to land. Will literally takes this giant orange tarp, puts it on top of his body, and lays down a field under enemy fire so that the chopper can see where to land. And the chopper lands, and Will and others drag his Sergeant Westbrook onto the chopper. He gives Westbrook a kiss on the forehead and says, be strong. And he goes back in the fight. And it's the first time that there was video footage of the heroics of a Medal of Honor recipient. And Will goes back in the fight. The truck they were driving is destroyed. They steal another one. That one gets destroyed. Will gets hit. The battle goes on for like 6 hours as he's trying to pull bodies out and get people to safety. He calls in air support for, like, hey, you hit this location, hit this location, and command's like, no. So of course Will loses it. He's like, what the fuck do you mean no? Like, we're pinned down, we're gonna die, you need to hit this stuff. They're like, no, there's like villages there. He's like, the villagers are who's shooting. Like, the women and children are ferrying rocket fire grenades to the Taliban. Like, we need to hit these guys. And in the end, he pulls out all the bodies of American and Afghan soldiers. It was I think 4 Americans, 9 Afghans who died. He got their bodies out. Almost everyone was injured. And he saves about 50 lives that day. He gets back to command, and he gives them peace of his mind. He's like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, if you're not going to support us out there, then why should we even go? We might as well be at home playing Nintendo. Like, what's wrong with you? And he yells at them. And they don't like getting yelled at because they're the generals and they're in charge. And basically, they sort of force him out of the army. His immediate superior, who was his major at the time, nominates him for the Medal of Honor, and as well as Dakota Meyer. And Dakota Meyer ended up becoming the first living recipient, or the first living Marine to get the Medal of Honor. It was a big deal. He was on 60 Minutes, and they did all sorts of stories. So he receives the award in 2011. And there was a man named Jonathan Landay who was a reporter with McClatchy News Services, who was embedded with Will and his team, and helped like drag bodies out. He was a badass himself, and he reported on the battle they were in and just how brutal it was the day after the battle. Like, he fired off his post, and it's an incredible read. He sees that Dakota Meyer gets the Medal of Honor, and he writes an article. It's like, where's Will's Medal of Honor? Will should have gotten this thing. He is the most badass human being who's ever walked the face of the earth. Why is he not being rewarded with this medal? Which I think is Representative Cunningham. He used to be a rep out of San Diego. He was also a former Marine general. He reads the article and he's like, yeah, where's Will's medal? So he launches the congressional investigation. Congressional investigation discovers that the military brass kind of hid Will's paperwork because they didn't like him very much for questioning their decisions. And not only that, but they like took some of the things Will did and attributed it to Dakota Meyer. So it was like kind of sketchy. And the report ends up on Obama's desk, and Obama says, "Give this boy his medal. Like, this is disgusting." So finally, in 2013, he is awarded the Medal of Honor. He meets President Obama. It's a somber, awful, horrible day. Anyone who's ever received the Medal of Honor, you can see the look in their eyes. Like, it is, you are wearing a reminder of the worst day of your entire life. You see your friends die. You've experienced trauma. You have your own physical and emotional trauma from that day. It is awful. It is not something that any Medal of Honor winner wishes upon, or a recipient wishes upon anyone. Then you get this thing. You have to tell the same horrific story over and over and over to reporters, to 60 Minutes, to passersby, to members of the administration. Like, it's a horrible reminder of what you've been through. And yeah, you're a badass. You are an absolute 100% badass, but that does not spare the fact that it is a reminder of the worst day of your life. And Obama asks, like, when you receive the award, you are put in this echelon in the military that is just everyone's in reverence of you. You know, generals have to salute you first. You get a special money put into your pension, and you are a celebrity at that point. And Obama asks Will, "What do you want?" And Will says, "I want back in. I want back in the army. I never wanted to leave. They forced me out. I want to go active duty again." Obama says, "You got it, dude." The military brass like, no, 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 because this dude already questioned their orders once, right? They don't want him back in there questioning their orders again. And now that he's super revered as a Medal of Honor recipient, they don't want like them to make an order and Will potentially be like, that's a dumb idea, and then have everyone follow Will, right? They don't want this stuff. It hurts their hierarchy in the army, and so they come up with excuses of like, oh, he's not in shape. He's been out for 2 years. We have no idea what condition he's in. He's like, I can run a marathon right now, man. I'm in phenomenal shape. I'm in better shape than you. And Obama's like, reinstate him now. So they reinstate him. They make him a major, and then their goal is to send him off as far away from the Pentagon as possible. So you go to if you are a hero like that, you go to the Defense Language Institute in Monterey. They teach you a language, and then they send you off to be an attaché in some faraway country where you don't have anyone to your command, and you're just out of everyone's way. So Will went to the Defense Language Institute, got stationed in Santiago, Chile, and then I think in Mexico City for a while. While he was at the Language Institute, I went down there and hung out with them for a bit, and we go to dinner at this wine bar. And there's a few couples, military husbands and their wives, and we're eating cheese and eating food and chit-chatting and having a great time. And then when the evening's over, Will's like, so, those guys you met? I was like, yeah. He's like, that was, the helicopter pilot in the Bin Laden mission. That was one of the guys who, helped kill Bin Laden. like they're all the same thing. Like, you meet people like that in your regular day-to-day life in the military. The brass want to send them as far away as possible. So they're going to like Kyrgyzstan and Uganda as like military attachés or something. So they're learning weird languages. But anyway, I made a Twitter thread about this because I was really pissed off on Thursday night about Trump being like, ew. I hate having to give that award to like those gross broken people, and it set me off because what these folks have been through is horrendous, and it is, it's somber. It's a somber moment. You have to take it seriously. I remember Will's girlfriend, then wife, telling me about like the levity that Biden brought. Like he's flirting with everyone. He's cracking jokes because it's a really, really, really serious, really somber moment, and it's hard to get through. And he was able to read the room in a way that was like, hey, let's cheer you up a little bit, ladies. Let's, he's flirting with Will's mom, and like they're just cracking jokes, and then they get to the serious point, and that kind of got them through that to the serious point with the actual like ceremony and everything. I'm sure awarding the Presidential Medal of Freedom to a billionaire donor to your campaign is a lot more fun. I get it. But it's not a better award. It's not a superior award. They didn't do anything that truly represented sacrifice to this country or to their friends or, and that stuff. It's just, it pissed me off to no end. Like, it hurt enough seeing Will on the news day after day giving these interviews and him giving like, I don't know what type of rhetoric it would be. Like you see a police officer get interviewed on TV and they're like, and the suspect was wearing a green hat and he evacuated west and we were in pursuit in our units and called in backup. Like they give this like kind of robot response and how they describe everything and try to make it as neutral as possible. And seeing my gregarious, sarcastic, hilarious, loving friend, talk like a robot, and sort of, you can see in his eyes where his emotion has to disassociate, and he's got to talk about these things that are horrible. Oh, it broke my heart. And I don't wish it on anyone. I don't. It's not something people should have to deal with. They shouldn't have to go off to war to go make a bunch of money for defense contractors when their entire goal is to do something they feel is the right thing. They shouldn't have to, see their friends die because command doesn't care enough to waste some artillery shells on protecting their people. The whole situation is just fucked up. And then you have a former president and presidential candidate who just shits on their legacy. Is brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And pisses me off. So I fired off basically a tweet thread all about that. And a few thousand new people now follow me on Twitter. And this is what you're getting into. So welcome. I don't know how to say that without like shedding more tears on this one, but yeah. So, So anyway, now that we're like half an hour behind in the chat, might as well go on something. Corporate Walnut, F them. Yeah, indeed. F them. Okay. All right, Boston Tom. Your girlfriend Kamala wants to make Gary Gensler Treasury Secretary. Good luck with that. I saw that. I mean, they've had previous SEC people become Treasury Secretary. It is all an inside job. I'd prefer if they took academics and put them in those roles, rather than people who have made a fortune off of their own funds and for investment banks. But we're in a corporatist system, and that's what we do. It's. But hey, Trump is going to make Jamie Dimon secretary and probably Ken Griffin head of the SEC. So, what are you going to do, Spencer? My 9-year-old son will probably end up working for the Canadian military because of his inclinations. How do I square that with misgivings about North American expansionism? I don't know. I was briefly Navy ROTC, and I dropped out when Bush became president. I resigned. I wrote a letter to the Seattle Times. This is December 2000, and I wrote a letter to the Seattle Times that said, I'm not going to serve for a man who's going to get us into war and recession for the next 4 to 8 years. That's basically what my letter to the Seattle Times said. And I could not rectify, serving under someone that I whose orders I wasn't going to respect. And then, within a year, we were in the midst of war and recession for like the next 8+ years, right? And so I feel kind of vindicated on that. My sister joined the Navy in '97 while she was in college. So she had joined and became a physics professor for the nuclear power school. So she's not like a fighter or anything. She was a nerd. She's a physics nerd. And she stayed on. She's now a captain in the Navy. She's Navy Reserve. She's captain. She's looking at being nominated for admiral here sometime in the near future. I'm not sure exactly how she rectifies it. I know, she's a nuclear physicist, and I think at the time she might have been like a lieutenant commander or something during a good chunk of the Iraq War. And I remember her getting like billet requests, like people like, "Hey, would you like to drive a truck for us? Can you drive a fuel truck in Iraq?" And she'd be like, "No, I'm a physics professor, not a truck driver. Oh, why can't you get like a truck driver to do these jobs?" But they were willing to sacrifice anybody at that point. And to me, that was the low point. And she really, there were times she was like, "I might resign my position, I might whatever," and she stuck with it. And now she's in some sort of intelligence unit, and I have no idea what she does. intelligence stuff. I don't know, nerd intelligence things. And there's been, her family's talked about when you retire or whatever. And I think at this point, her high school boyfriend went to Naval Academy. He just retired as a captain. I think out of pure kind of rivalry / spite / kind of joking lovingly, she wants to retire at a higher rank than him. so if she gets admiral, they're probably gonna make her go active duty and be in charge of some post somewhere for a couple of years. And her husband is basically retired, so they can afford to do that. And the kids are getting older and whatever. But I don't. You do have to come up with justifications, I think, to be in the military. And a lot of people, they serve because they love their country. They serve because they love their people. They serve because it was a family thing, right? It was kind of a family thing in my family. They serve because they have to, right? Some people don't have a choice at different militaries around the world. You get conscripted. Like you have to do your year or two. Others serve because they don't have other options, right? They want to have an education, healthcare, pension, whatever. So that's what they got to do. They're graduating high school and they don't have college or other things to look forward to. Some people serve because they're complete weirdos, and that's what they do. Some people serve because they're just fascinated. They're fascinated with the machinery and the tech and the military history, and so I think everyone has their own reasons to serve. But if you break it down to a microcosm, and you've heard these cliches in movies and war movies and stuff throughout the years, that it comes down to the people next to you, right? That there may be a grand idea or a grand push or something larger at play when there's a conflict, but your universe is this small unit of people that you're with, and that becomes your family, and what you do for them. And regardless of what the greater scheme may be. And I think one of the problems is that in wars like Vietnam, wars like Iraq, wars like Afghanistan, is that there really wasn't a goal, or if there was a goal, that did not seem to be what the nation was actually working towards. We should have gotten Bin Laden in Tora Bora in 2002. But we didn't. We let him go, and it took another 8 years before anyone actually made a play for him. And when we did, we discovered him like 5 yards away from Pakistan's equivalent of West Point, right? Like the goal of getting Bin Laden was completely removed from the mission at hand, and it became this kind of hand tied behind our back, bringing freedom to these poor people in Afghanistan. And then in the end, we did neither. Like, the Taliban's back in control. People are oppressed. People are being executed in stadiums again. Whereas if we just made the goal getting Bin Laden, we could have gotten Bin Laden and been out, and things would be where they are today. The Iraq War was stupid. We lied our ways into that. Made up intelligence, and then our government punished the people who pointed out the intelligence was wrong, like Valerie Plame, and Secretary Wilson. So, if you are going to be in the military, I think you got to look at the microcosm of why you're there, because that's who you're going to interact with day to day, and the larger scheme of things is generally out of your control, because whoever's in the White House, whoever's in the Pentagon, they're going to rule that stuff. So I think that one of the reasons why Will wanted to get back in was because he wanted to be the change he wanted to see, right? Like if you can get back into the system and be from the inside to change things, then that's the best you can do. And I think that I'll have to ask him personally, like, what was your real goal for that? But I get the feeling that that's part of it, that he wanted to be the change he wanted to see. So as for your 9-year-old, you have to ask them what they truly see in the grand schemes, because they're going to make that decision when they're 18 years old or 22 or whenever it is they go in. Yeah, and I don't know the answer personally. It's their life. They're going to do it one way or the other. Yeah. Okay. Justin Stewart says, oof, Kamala to put Gary Gensler Treasury Secretary, not good. Bossa Tom, that's why we need Trump in there, not this nonsense. Again, Trump is going to do Jamie Dimon from Chase and Ken Griffin from Citadel, and either one of those are going to be Secretary of the Treasury or head of SEC. So are those better than Gary Gensler? Gary Gensler has been kind of toothless, but he has presented a few new rules and regulations to tighten the market up a bit. He has not gone far enough at all. And we talked about why, and I think a big reason why the SEC hasn't tightened things up as much as they should is if they tighten it up now, it guarantees a market crash. Like if you all of a sudden make naked shorting illegal, then every market maker and 90% of hedge funds and family funds do not have a way to make an income instantly. They're done. And you make them close their positions, and that vaporizes the entire market. We know that. We know that every single one of these 1,000+ tickers that have been shorted like crazy will go into a short squeeze and will vaporize the market to the tune of trillions and trillions and trillions of liabilities and derivatives. The investment banks have $600 trillion in derivative liabilities. And so much of that is built on the back of naked short selling. So you cannot make a law now that says banning naked short selling, fuck you, close your positions, because the market can't do it. But if you wait for the market to perhaps crash, which it's got to, it has to crash. We're over leveraged on everything. Commercial real estate's toast. Residential real estate's becoming toast. Banks are going to vaporize. It's going to happen here soon. Then you do your post-mortem. You do your investigative report. Oh, look at all this crap that crashed. Well, how can we make things better in the future? That's when you level a law against naked short selling, and you force closure positions, etc. Because everything's already gone to shit, and you won't get the blame for crashing the economy. Now you're like, well, things are going to be hard while we work through this, and you make those laws. I think that's a big thing that the SEC's been looking at, is they've been waiting for this thing to crash because it has to, and then they can go in and they can make those laws. If it crashes and they don't make those laws, then kick them to the curb, man. That's brutality. Jason Blackwell, Houston, which island nation really hates internal combustion engines? Mad at gas car. Boo. Cheat Kiss Chapman. Looks like the hearing for next Tuesday is the one they push off every month. We'll see if an adjournment gets filed Monday night. Hopefully not. They were requiring all the adversary claims to be in, I think, by Thursday. Or maybe by Tuesday, 22nd? Let's say 19th. Tuesday is 20th. Thursday, 22nd. We're talking about Bed Bath & Beyond. There's been a hearing about whoever is going to be taking over Bed Bath & Beyond that's been scheduled since October. It gets postponed every single month. We don't know who's going to be taking over. We don't know that stuff. And it gets postponed like clockwork every month and then scheduled for the next month and postponed. One of these days, they're going to have that hearing. And one of these days, we're going to get an answer to find out if we're getting our stocks back and we're going to make money, or if it's just going to die a deadly death, which I don't think is going to happen, and we get nothing. Zero hero. That's what that hearing is going to be. But yeah. Vizio guys, this is Planet Houston, General Zod. King Murky, happy birthday, Houston. Hi, Monkey. Floor dog. She's behind me now on the floor. Her cam is useless. Citizen 54 Houston, the sub has been bumping. My shared posts are getting 7,000 plus likes. Very loudly sub. Yes, the subreddit, the Houston Wade subreddit, we've over 4,000 members now, which is crazy. And it gets picked up by the algo constantly. It's a very, very lively sub. It's quite crazy. I have to spend a great deal of my morning banning Nazis from our sub and Russian troll bots. And then you either banned or you're not. That's basically the way it works. I don't give you like these 30-day timeouts, because if I'm banning someone, it's because they're posting something really racist and hateful, or they're so obviously like a Russian troll farm account that there's no point. There's no point in letting them back in, because they're just going to be as awful the next time around. They're not going to learn a lesson. They're not a human being. They're a robot. So I just ban them. So a great deal of my morning is spent. Please keep flagging things. I will keep banning them. It does make the discussions better when they get out of there. Walt, the man in the middle. Hello, Curry. What would the hypothetical consequences be for the housing market if a Harris administration delivers the 3 million houses? Happy 504th episode. Thank you. Thank you. Episode 504. It's just crazy. I've done this over 500 times. It blows my mind every time. Well, the thing is, we have enough houses. We do. We have enough houses in this country to begin with. The problem is that for every vacant house in this country, for every 28 vacant houses in this country, there's a homeless person. So we got plenty of houses. The problem is how the ownership of those homes are organized. We have giant corporate ownership, groups like Blackstone, private investment groups, real estate investment trusts, speculators buying homes, the short-term rental market buying up lots of things in lots of locations. And a lot of those folks collude with each other to keep rental prices really high, to keep housing prices really high. And so the solution, I don't think, is necessarily like build even more houses for them to buy and control. I think the solution is limit who can own houses and how many they can own. Make it so that you can't own more than X number of houses. Let's say 4. You can own 4 houses, right? You can have your house, a vacation house, and 2 rentals. That's it. For everyone. Man, woman, child, corporation, you name it. That's as many as you can own. Done. Then you don't have to worry about Blackstone. You don't have to worry about, these weird speculators taking out 100 mortgages and buying up every home in an entire community to have as Airbnbs. And then all of a sudden removing these homes from the market, which eliminate the the long-term rentals, the perspectives of families being able to purchase in the communities they live in, things like that. Just get rid of them. No short-term rentals, period. No vacation rentals, done. That would solve so many issues with being able to house people, right? And keep home prices under control. So she can build 3 million houses, but unless we change, the monopolies that folks have and corporations have on these houses. I mean, we had instances a year or 2 ago where Zillow became a mortgage broker or a real estate broker, and so you could list with Zillow and they could sell your home, buy your home, whatever. And Zillow started buying up everything they possibly could in Arizona. Everything. They bought it all up. And the goal was, like, if we buy it all up, the price will only go up and then we'll sell. And then the market started to collapse and Zillow's now losing piles of money on other homes. But if they just, let people buy them who are going to live there, then people will be living in those homes and their roof will be covered and everything will be so much better. It's just... I think the solution is greater than just building 3 million houses. I think that you have to just fundamentally change how those houses are owned and operated at some point. Case Chapman, watched a doc with my wife over the weekend on Einstein and Hawking. She wants to know if you can describe the space outside of the universe, like what is the universe expanding into? Nothing. As far as we know. Theoretically, you have a whole bunch of nothing, and you have one point of something. That's how the Big Bang theory kind of works. That point of something went and has just been ripping through the nothing ever since. Now, we don't know if there are other somethings out there, right? The infinite void could have other big bangs out there. Maybe one day 2 big bangs pass through each other. We won't be able to know until it happens because the rate of expansion is essentially faster than the speed of light. So we can't see what we're coming into, and they can't see us. We can't see where we came from, and they can't see us. So yeah, I mean, we haven't hit anything yet. So obviously it's been nothing so far. That's the best I can describe it. System 54. Oops, I said that one. Sujo Kozenjik. Court news for BBY and new RC lawsuit. Did he sue himself? The new lawsuit is the plan man in the BBY case trying to sue Cohen for 16B. Cohen be like, bud, you don't have to serve me. I already know what you're trying to do. And that's basically what came out of that. And it's going to get tossed because he had an agreement, a working agreement with BBY that they couldn't sue him for anything. So that's getting tossed. Yeah. Oh, also, Basile's lawsuit, Steamroller against FINRA, apparently got thrown out today. So, see if that goes anywhere someday. GDC, why hasn't some law enforcement agency or civil rights org stepped up and declared MAGA to be a hate group? Will we see it if GOP continues to splinter into MAGA and non-MAGA? I don't think, like, MAGA itself would be, I think it would be the subgroups under it, you know, Proud Boys, Patriot Front, various militia groups, things like that. I think those little subgroups that are encompassed in there. Yes. If for some reason the QAnon group suddenly is like planting pipe bombs, I think, yeah, you could start to label that loose knit group as something like that. But I think you focus more on the little organized subgroups that fall into that header than anything else. And those are the groups that got busted on J6 for organizing that and storming the Capitol and stuff. And a lot of that leadership has been picked apart. I don't think a lot of them got long enough prison sentences, but I think that's what you should look at. Hoshi, Houston, feeling like MOAS will never happen. Sometimes I wonder if this whole movement is a cult, like movement help. Yeah, it may be. We may be in a cult. It's a very healthy perspective to look at. You know, we as retail investors are fighting very organized, very rich, very powerful, very, you know, connected people who they can buy thousands of bots and put them into, you know, social media. They can pay troll farms to just fuck with us. They can bribe officials. They can, you know, subvert laws and hire huge amounts of attorneys, and we just can't do that. Like when we try to hire a securities attorney, oftentimes they go, A, you can't afford me, and B, there's a conflict of interest because we represented that company before, right? Because it's a small, tight-knit community. So if you're trying to sue one of the big boys and you want a competent attorney to do that, that competent attorney has probably worked for the big boys at one point, and they go, oh, sorry, it's conflict of interest. I can't be a part of this case. And that's how they get out of it. So yeah, we have this like dynamic enemy, and they're very powerful, and all we have is numbers. We've seen little pops, little squeezes happen as, you know, we get vindicated on our feelings and our information and our due diligence research we've done, discovering that they've been naked shorting these companies. And if we buy and hold, they don't really truly have a long-term answer to that beyond we have to try to outlast them. And they may outlast us. I don't know. But we've seen that short sale theory of theirs fall apart with just the big example of GameStop, in that GameStop is now a very, very, very rich company. And they've got more money on hand than almost anyone except for like Amazon, Google, Apple, and a couple of others. They have more money on hand than most banks. So, you know, it's the short case of I'm going to destroy this company by naked short selling isn't going to work anymore. Now that the naked short sell just to keep the price down, and that's not sustainable. That just opens up to more and more liability as time goes on. So, I mean, all we got is time. We can afford that. We just do this all day long. waiting for something to happen. And in the meantime, we entertain ourselves by having very sad argument or very, very sad stories about friends in the military and etc. But man, yeah, that's where we are. My short show is almost over. I got 8 minutes to go, and I have not even gotten to the chats at the beginning of the show yet. I apologize. Yeah. Chris Taylor Houston, could your little island paradise get swamped if the Cascadia Fault goes off, or are you good? There will probably be some tsunamis. The tsunami you have to worry about where I am. If we can pull up some Google Earth and stare at some maps, because why not? We love staring at maps around here. Go wait for Google Earth to open first. Come on, bud. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Nope, you're opening the wrong window. Wrong window. Over here. Over. Nope. 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 Over there. There we go. Okay. Bam. Bam. There we are. I'm up here in the northwest corner. Here I am on this little island here. Now, we've had a tsunami here before in human history. There's some really tall cliffs. It's a place called Indianola, and there was a big landslide, and it pushed a 12-foot tsunami into the harbor here and wiped out a good chunk of the little town that was here. It's a little mill town called Port Madison. And now it's just rich people houses, and there used to be a giant mill over here that exploded every once in a while and whatnot. So we've had localized tsunamis. We've had localized mega tsunamis. The Seattle Fault quake, and the Seattle Fault runs from the Olympic Mountains here, under Bainbridge where I am, through downtown Seattle and out towards the Cascades. About 900 years ago, it had a very shallow, very powerful quake, somewhere in the 7 to 8 range. It caused numerous landslides in Lake Washington, and a 500-foot plus tsunami resulted from that. You can actually, this is a really deep lake, goes down about 600 feet or so, and you actually find intact forests at the bottom of the lake from that quake that did a landslide into the water. So I'd be more worried about if there is a big like Cascadia Fault quake having localized tsunamis as a result of landslides, because there's lots of big steep things, like on the south end of Whidbey Island here, just nothing but giant cliffs. Giant cliffs in Magnolia, giant cliffs along parts of Lake Washington, giant cliffs. Oh, we're talking, these things are a couple 100 feet high, made of clay, and if they crack and they slide into the ocean with a big enough kaboom, they can really make some waves. I had property I bought in the global financial crisis out here on Driftwood Way. Wait a minute, Driftwood Way. Or Twin Spits. Sorry, up here. Wrong part of Whidbey. So this is Driftwood Way here, and I bought property super cheap. I was like, someone abandoned it. It was at auction, bought it for like $1,000, and there's no building going on. So I was like, oh, in a couple of years they'll start building. It's across the street from the water. It's up on a bluff. It's got a beautiful view, and you can see like Canada. You can see the Olympic Mountains, and it's just a gorgeous spot, right? And one day in 2013, my friend Nick calls me. He's like, hey, so you got that property up on Driftwood Way? And I was like, yeah. He's like, no, you don't. Turn on the news, and my property had slid into the ocean, along with a whole bunch of other homes along Driftwood Way. And at the time, it was the largest landslide since Mount St. Helens. And luckily, no one died. But these things will give way, and that was just from rainfall. It wasn't from any shaking of the earth, which can really shake things loose. So these things can really give it up. Now, Cascadia Fault quake would be a quake somewhere all the way out here. So the quake itself would be 150 miles away from where I am. But because it would probably be a 9.0 or larger, it would spread across a huge area, cause giant tsunamis along the coast and probably along other parts of the Pacific Rim. And those tsunamis would probably flood into the Straits of Juan de Fuca and then spread out through the Straits of Georgia and the Puget Sound. But by the time it gets in here, it's probably like maybe a meter or two. It won't be like the 10 to 30 meters it could be along the coast, which is where you really have to worry about it. If you are in one of these low-lying communities on a spit, like Ocean Shores, Westport, Long Beach, by the time the quake happens, there's nowhere to go, and there's no high ground. Like, I think the highest point on these things are maybe, 10, 20, 30 feet is as high as it gets. and you are swamped. Like the water will rush over this thing, fill up the entire bay, and just wipe everyone out. So what they've been doing is when they build like new elementary schools, is they build them really stout, and they make the gyms really, really high, and then you have emergency access. So if you are anywhere near one of these schools, you can climb the stairs and be on the roof of these schools, and that will be your hopefully your safe space for when a tsunami comes. But I'm not too worried about like a tsunami coming from this itself, from like uplift along this fault zone here. I'm more worried about landslides and localized tsunamis from that. But yeah. Okay, I've got like 3 minutes left, so I'm going to just kind of go to some chats here at the end. Where are we? Okay. Okay, so Robert Hurt, did you get to see Matt Waldron pitch on Saturday? If so, how did he compare to you? I've only seen clips of Waldron pitching. I have not been to a game or got to watch him on TV or anything. He throws consistently harder than I ever did, especially with his knuckleballs. Like I could get my knuckleballs up there, but I couldn't throw them sustain that hard for as long. I would do one every once in a while. It was pretty hard. He puts some nasty movement on, especially for how much his ball tumbles. I'll be honest, my knuckleball tumbled a lot less than his. So I threw my ball different than everyone else. The most knuckleballers, they've got 2 fingertips on the ball. They keep a stiff wrist, and when they throw, they kind of flick their fingers outwards, and the ball dances, right? And it dances differently depending on how you hold the seams and whatnot. So he's a classic style stiff wrist. I invented one with a finger down, and I could snap my wrist and then flick my finger, and that would the snap wrist would cause a backspin. The flick finger forward would cause a forward spin, and it would not spin at all. Like he gets, I don't know. Usually it's about 1 rotation from all the clips I've seen, and it dances pretty well. I generally had less than a quarter rotation on each knuckleball, and it danced a lot more. But the faster it goes, the more it dances to about 72 miles an hour. 72 miles an hour is sort of like the apex for movement for a knuckleball. If you get faster than that, which I could back in the day throw a knuckleball faster than that, it started to defeat the aerodynamics of the ball. The air would force the ball to tumble more, and you wouldn't get as much movement out of it. And if you threw it slower, usually you get some wiggle and then a big drop right over home plate, and that usually caused people to swing over the ball if they did try to swing for it. Okay. Millie McWoolhead, I went to the Defense Language Institute for Chinese. Well, there you go. I have a friend that's with the State Department that went to the Defense Language Institute for Chinese a couple of years ago. And another one that's with USAID for Russian. And I think they're now in like Moldova or something for USAID. I think he just speaks English to everyone if they don't know Russian at that point. But yeah, oh crap, I can do one more and then I gotta run away. Darren, I'm watching all of your previous videos and watched the importance of DRSing MMTLP shares. I just sent an ATS last week, hoping for the best. I'm not too late. Nice summer shirt, by the way. Thank you. This one last story. This shirt I bought for Halloween. I was a Miami Vice drug informer, and I had a big old mustache, aviators, like linen pants, white loafers, gold chain, chest hair, the works. And I carried around a giant bag of powdered sugar, and I just like wipe it all over my nose and my face. And we hopped out of the car. We're going to this bar called Little Red Hen to go to a Halloween party. I get out of the car, and this man and his extremely gorgeous girlfriend dressed as Zelda walk right past, she's like holding his hand. She stops. And he keeps going, and she like, you know, like when your dog's sniffing something, like, come here. He like was trying to tug on her, and she just looked at me up and down and just goes, I love a good cocaine joke, and then walked away. So that's where the shirt's from. Anyway, tune in tonight. I'll be doing a Twitch. We'll be doing some GeoGuessr, and you can ask me any of the questions you have here where I did not manage to get to them today because sorry, it was a short show. Normally we do 90 minutes or 2 hours or so. And we'll do a Twitch tonight, and I'll answer your questions then. And you guys can watch me stare at maps as I try to figure out where the hell I am. So thank you for joining me. I will catch you guys tonight, and have a good one, right? So let's do the classic. Boom.